So Google just shocked the AI industry with the release of Gemma 4, a new open source model that is insanely powerful. But the crazy part is, it can even run on your phone. And actually, Gemma 4 might save you hundreds of dollars because you no longer have to pay for ChatGPT. See, the beauty of local AI models is that they are completely free without any rate limits and 100% private. And this is the unspoken secret of the AI industry. The big AI companies want you to ignore local models because if you can run AI on your laptop, their business model falls apart. First off, what even is Gemma 4? Well, it's a new open source model made by Google that is absolutely incredible for how small it is. We're entering an era where capable AI models are no longer locked behind a paywall, but instead they can run on the devices you already have. And just look at the increase in popularity for local AI models over the past 5 years. Yeah, it's safe to say that if you're not running any AI models locally, you're falling behind. Now let's take a closer look at Gemma 4 because somehow Google has absolutely cooked with this model. It beats models that are nearly 30 times bigger. I'm gonna say that again. Gemma 4, even though it's only 31 and 26 billion parameters, is on the same level as Kimi K2.5 with 1.1 trillion parameters. But not only that, in traditional Google fashion, Gemma models are multimodal, which means they're great at audio and image and video inputs. For example, this guy cooked up real quick in like a couple of hours, image classifier where you can see that this is Gemma. I think this is the E2B variant. Let's check. Yeah, the E2B, the smallest one. So there are 4 versions, but more on that later. And you can see that not only does it recognize the object, but it writes a description nearly in real time, because it's such a small model, of what he's holding, what he's doing on screen. So yeah, these models are really good at multimodal capabilities as well. And again, in a bit, I'll show you how to actually set up and run Gemma 4 both on your laptop and on your phone. But first, if you run open source models, you also need an open source database. And this is where Supabase comes in. The biggest problem with AI agents right now isn't the AI, it's giving them access to real data. See, you can build a working agent in a matter of 20 minutes, but the moment it needs to read a database, write to a table, or check who's logged in, you're back to wiring APIs, managing credentials, and writing glue code that has nothing to do with the actual product. Luckily, Supabase fixes this. They ship an MCP right out of the box, which means your AI tools, whether that's Cursor, Cloud Code, Codex, or whatever else you're using, can talk directly to the Postgres database through a single connection string. But here's what makes it super powerful for agent builders. Your embeddings, your data, your auth, your file storage, it all lives in the same Postgres instance. So when your agent needs to do a vector similarity search across user documents, it's not calling 3 separate services, it's one query. So if you're building AI agents or automations in Python, Supabase is a must-have. They have an amazing free plan and it's super easy to set up. It just takes a few minutes and you can try it yourself. The link is going to be below the video. And thank you Supabase for sponsoring this video. Alright, now back to Gemma 4. Look at the improvements across all areas, right? Healthcare, overall, text, creative writing, instruction following, multi-turn, mathematics, software. This is the jump of Gemma 4, the blue one, compared to Gemma 3, which is last year's open source model from Google. Needless to say, this is a huge, maybe even the biggest improvement in open source since the release of DeepSeek. But what makes this really interesting is that Google gave us both a dense model, which is the biggest one, 31 billion parameter, and a mixture of experts model, which is sparse. So here are the 4 different versions of Gemma. These ones are the smallest ones. E2B and E4B stands for effective parameters. Basically, these are the ones are for phone. These 2 are for laptop. Unless your laptop is shit, then you're probably gonna have to run these as well. But the top one is a dense model, and this one is a mixture of experts model. Now, here's what that actually means, right? Dense model means that all of the parameters, so all 31 billion, are active at all times. And this is a lot simpler architecture that has a lot more predictable behavior. The downside is that it's expensive to run. On the other hand, mixture of experts, this is something that has been super popular over the last 2 years, is a sparse architecture. Both of them are the transformer architecture, but these are just either sparse or dense. That's the difference in activation of the parameters, right? So the huge parameter count, which again, this is the mixture of experts model, the 26B, it's not all activated at a single time. So even though these are like similar in parameters, they're not similar in speed. The 31B is going to be a lot slower than the 26B because this is a mixture of experts, which means not all 26 billion parameters are active in every turn. So if you ask about coding, maybe it activates the coding expert and the math expert, but it will not activate the English language expert. So if you have maybe only like 16 gigabytes of RAM or VRAM, You can probably run the 26B mixture of experts, but you will definitely not be able to run the 31B. And here is a nice visualization of what that looks like when the model is running, when the tokens are being generated. And what's crazy is that the dense model at 31 billion parameters is number 3 on the arena benchmark for all open source models. So it's even defeating like 700 billion parameter models, which is just unheard of in the realm of open source models. All right, so how do you actually set up Gemma 4 so it can run on your laptop or on your phone? Well, let's start with the laptop, and there are 3 main ways to do it, right? So we have Ollama, we have LM Studio, and we have Llama CPP. Ollama is slower than Llama CPP, so if you want maximum performance, go with this one. If you want convenience and simplicity, go with Ollama. If you already have LM Studio set up, go with LM Studio, right? So there is no wrong choice. I'm gonna show you how to do Ollama because it's super simple. So just go to ollama.com, and here's a one-liner install command. Copy that, open a terminal, type in terminal, boom, into Spotlight search. If you're on Windows or Linux or some obscure operating system and you don't know how to open the terminal, I'm gonna tell you a little unknown secret. Just ask AI. How do I open the terminal on my Windows 95 system? Boom. Any problem, any question, anytime you get stuck, ask one of the cutting edge AI models. Just don't get stuck, okay? A lot of people are overthinking this and they're scared of the terminal for no reason. It's the easiest way to interact with your computer. So open up the terminal, okay, stop making excuses, copy this one-liner command and paste it in. Boom. Yes, it's that easy to install Ollama. It's that easy. You can do it even if you're not a developer. Stop being afraid of the terminal. Next up, we need to go back to the Ollama website, and in the top left, we can see the models section. And here, well, already we can see that Gemma 4 is at the top, but here they have all of the kinds of different open source models that they support. If Gemma 4 isn't at the top for you, just type in Gemma at the top, and it will filter only to the Gemma models. Obviously, we want the latest version, Gemma 4. If we scroll down, we can see the different sizes, right? So Google released 4 different sizes. And again, this depends on your computer. You need at least 24 gigabytes of VRAM to run these bigger ones. If you have NVIDIA GPU or non-Mac, if you're on Mac OS with the Apple Silicon, so like M1 chip, M2 chip, M3, M4, M5, you have shared RAM. So I'm going to show on screen what that looks like. But basically, your RAM is shared between the CPU and the GPU, which is a huge advantage for running models locally. If you have like a Windows computer and you're using NVIDIA, your RAM doesn't matter. What matters is the VRAM of the graphics card, right? So again, put your specs, I'm gonna once again tell you a secret, put your specs into a powerful AI chatbot, tell it what type of system you're running, and ask it which of these models you can run. But the beauty about Gemma is that you can run at least some of these, because literally these are running on my iPhone, and I'm gonna show that to you in a few minutes. But first, let's do the laptop setup. So scroll up and you can see that Ollama run Gemma 4. That's the install for general. But if you want to specifically, let's say you have the machine and you want to run the biggest Gemma, just copy the name of the model, switch back to the terminal. Let's do clear to clear the terminal and type in Ollama space, run space, and paste in the model name and hit enter. Boom. That's it. 2 terminal commands and we have everything we need. And this will begin installing and downloading that model. Now for me, it didn't do that because I already had it downloaded, right? So if you want to see, let's do /by. If you want to see whether you have the model downloaded or if you used Ollama in the past, you can just type in Ollama list and it will list out all of the different models that you've downloaded with Ollama. So I'm going to do clear and I'm going to once again do Ollama run Gemma 4 31B. This is the dense model, the biggest one. And once it finishes downloading, which takes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on your internet, you will see that you can start sending a message and you can do hey, and you can start chatting with the model fully loaded on my MacBook. Look, this is pretty fast. I think this is like 40, 50 tokens per second, and it's fully loaded on my MacBook. And this is on the same intelligence level as Kimi K2.5, which is 1.1 trillion parameter. Guys, think about this. GPT-4 was like the first model that was officially above 1 trillion parameters. And just 2.5 years ago, that was the greatest model in the world. And now we're running these on our laptops. We really are living in the future, guys. All right, but let's say you don't want to use the terminal. Okay, so you can type in by. Ollama also has the desktop app. So if you type in Ollama, boom, you can open the desktop app and you can see that they have a bunch of different presets for the AI agents. Copy a command, run in the terminal. So Ollama launch Claude. You can use Ollama to power all of the latest AI agents, or you can just use the chat in the top left to send a message here, and you should see the different models. So let's do Gemma 31B. There we go. And this is a bit more friendly interface. You have an actual chat. So if you want to use something that's similar to ChatGPT, you don't have to use Ollama in the terminal. Just open it up like I did, like any other app. Ollama, boom, there it is. And we can start chatting. List out 10 greatest philosophers of all time. And actually, I was testing some of its lesser known things, like lesser known knowledge yesterday, and I was surprised with how good this model is. It actually knows a lot, given that it's only 31 billion parameters. As you can see, it's a reasoning model, so it's thinking before it answers. And there it is. It was reasoning for 46 seconds, and now it's listing out the 10 greatest philosophers with a classic LLM warning that there is no way to know which is greatest. And yeah, I'm not gonna wait for this to finish, because I'm also recording in 4K, and this model is running all on a single MacBook, guys. This is what OpenAI fears. You just paying a couple $1,000s for a powerful machine and then never having to pay these subscriptions ever again. Okay, so now that you know how to run Gemma 4 on your laptop, let's talk about the phone. So these models, again, E2B and E4B stands for effective. So effective 2 billion parameters or effective 4 billion. I think both are a mixture of experts, but they're runnable even on phone. Now, if you have like 10-year-old smartphone, probably not. But if you have like 1 to 3 years old phone that is decent, you can absolutely run these. And I'm going to show you how, both on Android and on iOS. So just type in Google AI Edge Gallery. This is the app you need. And again, it's available on both the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. In fact, let me start screen recording my phone. In your App Store or in Google Play, type in Google AI Edge Gallery. And this is the icon, right? It should look like this or looks like this. Hopefully I'm screen recording my phone here. And download this. It's completely free. It's an official app from Google. Then click on open, and this opens it, and you can see that it already says try Gemma 4 today at the top. So this lets you run models locally on your phone. So click on AI chat right there, and we can see we have the 4 different options, right? Actually, be careful, because the bottom 2 ones are Gemma 3. So these are not the 4 Gemma 4s. The bottom 2 are Gemma 3, which is the older generation. So you definitely don't want to run these because they're way less powerful. You want to look at the top 2. The top one is 2.5 gigabytes. That's the size on disk. And this is the E2B. And the bigger one is the E4B, which I would recommend if you can run it. And this one is 3.6 gigabytes. So that's the storage it will take up on your phone. But if you download it, which again takes a couple minutes depending on your internet, you can click this blue button and you can start a chat with it. At the top, it says initializing model. So it's loading it into the memory. And now it's loaded, and I can say, hey, and let's see how fast it responds. You can see that was fast. That's not bad at all, okay? Say, explain how LLM inference works. Look at this. This is like 30 tokens per second, all running on my iPhone. I have a 16 Pro Max, so it's not even the latest generation. And this is usable. If you're in a forest and, you get injured, you have a broken leg, you don't have a signal, you don't know what to do, this could actually save your life. So all of you, go to Google AI Edge Gallery and just download this. There is no reason not to do that. It's completely free and you can run this on your phone. And again, all of this data stays private on your machine. You're not sending it to Sam Altman or Dario Amodei or Mark Zuckerberg. This is locally on your phone. And it can answer most questions just as well as ChatGPT. Obviously, if you want to push it to the limits of coding or mathematics or problem solving, yeah, Opus 4.6 and GPT 5.4, these top big multi-trillion parameter models are still going to be better. But for most questions, this is good enough. And there is no reason you shouldn't have this. Now, before I show you how to run Gemma 4 inside of Hermes agent, so you have a super powerful agent running locally on your machine, there's 2 tweets I will need to show you. First, from Steve Vibe, or STV Vibe. So everyone knows that Gemma 4 is good at tool calling, but what about web coding? Because people think, again, these small models, how good are they? Are they any useful at coding? Well, take a look for yourself, right? So here is the example. Let me start it from beginning. At the top, there are the reference images, and below is the result from Gemma 4. And on the left, again, 26 billion mixture of experts. On the right is the 31 billion dense model, okay? So look at how well they replicate. And by the way, top right is the E4B. So this is the one I just ran on my phone. Look how well they replicate the reference image. So 26B was first because it's a mixture of experts. And you can see, okay, let me pause that. So 26B and 31B, great job, both. E4B, you know, it's an attempt. But again, this model is runnable locally on your phone. And obviously I would say the 31B is better because you can see the animation and the glow and stuff like that, but both are really good. Okay, so let's look at the next. So this is a reference image of a review that any website might have. So, okay, E4B finished first, doesn't really have the same feel, you know, rounded corners. It's missing some of the design components, but this is usable. It's kind of crazy that you have a model that you can run on your phone that generates usable web components. Insane. But let's look at the 26 and the 31B. So already 26B, okay, both are much better. I would say actually the 26B is better here because of the spacing, but both kind of nail the font. You can see like it's more like handwritten vibe. And yeah, both of these are a lot closer towards the reference, but yeah, 26B wins this one. So yes, you can absolutely use these models for coding locally. Like if you're on a long flight and you have internet and you want to keep building your app, you can plug this into Cursor, into OpenCode, into Hermes Agent and keep building your app. While others would just waste time, you know, watch the fucking infotainment system in the plane. And this is a pricing page, and you can see that actually E4B is pretty good here. It doesn't, you know, follow the reference, but like this is pretty good design. In some split tests, this might actually overperform the bigger ones. Gemma 4, super capable at UI and web development, especially for its size. Again, that's the biggest thing. These models are like between 20 and 30 billion parameters, guys. And they're performing on the level of 700 or 1 trillion. Like 1 trillion parameters. Like, I cannot stress this enough how incredible this is. The next thing I want to show you is this guy, Prince Kanuma. He absolutely cooked, and within 24 hours, it was way less, I think within 12 hours. Within 12 hours of Gemma 4 release, he added MLX support, so it's more efficient to run on M chips, you know, Apple Silicon chips. And actually, this guy, I checked his profile, and he's from Poland, Krakow, you can see, Krakow, Poland, which reminds me that I'm going to be building an office in Katowice. So if you are an AI-first developer, someone who's really technical, whether a programming background or AI machine learning background, and you want to join my team, make sure to DM me on Instagram or on Twitter, because I'm going to be building an elite in-person team in Katowice, in Poland. But now, let me show you how to run Hermes Agent with Gemma 4. All right, so the first thing we need to do is actually open the terminal and type in Olama serve, just 2 words, and hit enter. Now, as you can see, the address is already in use, and that's because I already have Olama running. So make sure you type it in to check if it's running or not. If it's not running, it will serve the server so that we can use it inside of Hermes Agent. So just make sure to run this no matter what. Next up, go to the official GitHub for Hermes Agent. Scroll down to find the curl install one-liner. So again, don't be afraid of the terminal. This is a one command that we just copy and we run it in the folder where we want to install Hermes Agent. So actually, I'm going to use an IDE for this. I'm going to use Cursor. Feel free to use VS Code or anything else. Here we go. And the reason I like an IDE is because you can see the folders and you have an integrated terminal, right? So if I do ls, you can see that we have 2 folders. I'm going to do cd into testing folder and ls, and this is an empty folder. You can see on the right, nothing here exists. And here I'm going to paste in the command to install Hermes Agent. We have some errors. I think that's because it's already installed, right? Hermes version. Yeah, it's already installed, so just go through the setup. I recently posted a video on that. If you haven't seen it, watch it after this one. But to check your version, just do Hermes version. You can see I already have one installed. And there is actually an update available, so type in Hermes update to get the latest update of Hermes Agent. And if we check Hermes version right now, we have the latest version. Beautiful. Now, here comes the important part. How do you select Olama as the provider to power Hermes? Well, you type in Hermes model. And we can see that we have many different options, but we need to scroll down and click on custom endpoint, enter URL manually, enter that. And here we need to put the endpoint as localhost 11434/v1. So this is the string you have to copy, so make sure it's exactly this. This is the port where the Olama server is served. So feel free to pause this video and type in exactly localhost column 11434/v1. Enter. The API key, there is no API key because it's running locally, so just hit enter. And we can see that there are available models, and it correctly pinged this endpoint and found these models. So instead of typing the full model name, we can just select which number. So obviously we want the Gemma 4 31B, so I'm going to type in 1. Context length in tokens, auto detect, yeah, hit enter. And there we go. It saved Gemma 4 31B as the agent, as the model powering the agent. So let's do Hermes, just Hermes to start the agent. And there we go, Gemma 4, hey. Let's see if it works. So 260,000 context window, not bad at all for a 31 billion parameter model. So it's loading into memory right now. And if this works, we just have a fully local AI agent. This is like a better version of OpenClaw basically, right? Running fully locally on my MacBook. Now we still didn't get a response. So let's be patient. So let's see if this is loaded into memory. Olama PS. It is loaded. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to generate tokens. Oh, there it is. It responded. Okay. So it takes some time because there is, like, as you can see, 12,000 tokens because there is a lot of pre-made prompting with Hermes agent. So it's not going to be the fastest. Okay. But now that it's loaded, it should be fastest. Show me the contents of your .hermes folder as a file tree. Let's see how fast it is now. Obviously, the longer the prompt, the longer the response. The reason it was so fast before is because there was no system prompt, right? So we were just chatting with the raw model through Olama. So for something like this, actually, a better project would be PyDev. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it's running. Let's see how good it is at tool search. So it needs to use a search tool to analyze the internal folders inside of it. Okay, now we use terminal. This is actually fascinating. All of this running locally. We're running Hermes agent and we're testing tool calling abilities of Gemma 4. Okay, so yeah, it is very slow the moment you have the prompt. But what I wanted to show you is a much more minimal agent, and that is py.dev. So if you want the thing that's powering OpenClaw, this is a super minimal agent with like minimal tools, minimal prompting. It's gonna be better for local models because it doesn't involve so many dependencies, so many instructions, so much bloat. But it's not going to be as powerful with cutting edge models. That's what I would say. So Pi, let me know if you want me to make a video on Pi, because this is like the underground thing that not many people know exists, but it's actually what OpenClaw is built on top of. So let me know if you want me to make a video on PyDev agent. But yeah, this is running super slow. So again, if you're in a plane, if you're without the internet, it's much better than nothing, but it's not going to be as efficient as, you know, cloud-hosted supercomputer AI models that are in a big data center. Now that said, if you're someone who's interested in AI coding, then make sure to join the new society. Right now, we're working on a lot of new content, which is going to be released in 8 days from now. But until then, the price is at $37 a month. This is the lowest it's ever been. So if you're serious about AI coding, and if you want to master Claude Code, Cursor, Codex, and the other coding agents, if you want to have the ability to build anything with AI coding tools, then make sure to join the new society. It's going to be linked below the video. And again, for the next 8 days, it is $37 a month. And then it's going to go up to $77 a month. And it's going to stay there forever. This is the biggest price drop we've ever had. This is the cheapest it's ever been in the history of New Society. So again, if you're serious about AI coding, join now because there's a massive release coming in 8 days.